Claire Emerson had always found solace in the quiet ripples of Lake Harmony. Growing up in the bustling suburbs of Portland, Oregon, her weekends were sacred escapes to her grandfather Jack Whitaker's lakeside cabin, aptly named Harbor's Rest. Jack, a retired carpenter with calloused hands and a heart full of stories, had built the place from scratch in the 1970s. It wasn't just a house, it was a sanctuary of weathered pine walls, a wraparound porch overlooking the water, and a small dock where Claire learned to fish and sketch architectural designs under the stars. "Claire, this place is more than wood and nails," Jack would say, his voice gravelly from years of sawdust. "It's a piece of your soul. Promise me you'll cherish it." At 12 years old, Claire had nodded solemnly, her fingers tracing the intricate carvings on the mantelpiece that Jack had etched himself, symbols of family, resilience, and quiet strength. Fast forward to Claire's mid-30s, she was now a successful architect in Seattle, designing eco-friendly homes that echoed her grandfather's love for natural materials. Life had been kind in some ways, a cozy apartment, a thriving career, and a close-knit circle of friends. But family, that was a different story. Her parents, Robert and Elaine Emerson, had always favored her younger sister, Heather. Heather was the golden child, the one with the effortless charm, the beauty pageant wins, and the endless stream of admirers. Claire, on the other hand, was the practical one, the introvert who buried herself in blueprints rather than social gatherings. It wasn't overt neglect, but the subtle digs added up: skipped birthdays, forgotten achievements, and constant comparisons. 6 years ago, when Jack passed away from a sudden heart attack at 82, his will was a bombshell. Harbor's Rest, valued at over $500,000 due to its prime location and custom features, was left solely to Claire. "To my granddaughter Claire, who understands the value of solitude and hard work," the document read. The rest of his modest estate, savings, and tools went to Robert and Elaine. The family erupted. "It's not fair," Heather wailed at the reading, her manicured nails digging into her palms. "Grandpa always said family shares everything." Robert, a stern accountant, nodded in agreement, his eyes narrowing at Claire. "This must be a mistake. Jack wouldn't cut us out like that." Elaine, ever the peacemaker with a hidden agenda, patted Heather's back. "We'll sort it out, dear. Claire, you wouldn't mind sharing, would you? It's what family does." Claire stood her ground. "Grandpa's wishes are clear. I'll honor them." She moved some of her things into the cabin, using it as a weekend retreat to recharge. But the resentment simmered. Family dinners became tense affairs, with Heather's dramatic sighs and Robert's pointed questions about what she planned to do with all that property. Then came Heather's engagement to Tyler Hargrove, a flashy real estate developer from a wealthy family. The wedding planning kicked off like a whirlwind, venue scouting, designer gowns, and a guest list that screamed extravagance. Estimated cost $150,000. Robert and Elaine beamed with pride, dipping into their savings without a second thought. But as bills piled up, whispers turned to schemes. One crisp autumn evening, Claire drove to Harbor's Rest for a much-needed break. The leaves crunched under her tires as she pulled up, but something felt off. Lights flickered in the windows, strange since she hadn't rented it out. Heart pounding, she approached the door, key in hand. It didn't fit. Panicking, she peered through the glass. Unfamiliar furniture, a family photo on the wall that wasn't hers. A neighbor, Dorothy, an elderly widow next door, spotted her and waved her over. "Claire? Oh, honey, didn't you know? Your parents sold the place months ago. Some nice couple from the city bought it, said it was for their retirement." Claire's world tilted. Sold? Impossible. She hadn't signed anything. Racing back to Seattle, she pored over public records at the county office. There it was, a deed transfer dated 4 months prior, from Claire Emerson to Robert and Elaine, then to the buyers, the Petersons, for $320,000, well below market value. Her signature? Forged. A notary seal she didn't recognize stamped it official. Tears stung her eyes as the betrayal sank in. They hadn't just stolen her inheritance, they'd erased her grandfather's legacy for a wedding, Heather's wedding. Claire didn't confront them immediately. Instead, she called her old college friend, Jessica Cole, now a sharp family law attorney. "We need proof," Jessica said over coffee. "Bank records, timelines, witnesses. This is fraud, Claire, but we'll play it smart." As Claire dug deeper, the web unraveled. Her parents had accessed her joint account from childhood, never closed, and withdrawn funds to cover incidentals. Emails surfaced showing Heather's involvement. "Mom, make sure Claire doesn't find out until after the big day. This wedding has to be perfect." Claire's anger hardened into resolve. She wouldn't scream or fight dirty. No, she'd take everything back, legally, methodically, and with the satisfaction of watching their world crumble. In the weeks following her discovery, Claire transformed her Seattle apartment into a war room. Sticky notes covered the walls, timelines of the sale, photocopies of forged documents, and printouts of bank statements. Jessica guided her every step, emphasizing patience. "Revenge is a dish served cold and with airtight evidence," she quipped. The forgery was blatant. The signature on the deed was a poor imitation. Claire's loops were too perfect. The notary, a distant relative of Robert's, who later admitted under oath, via affidavit, that he'd been pressured. He said, "It was just family business," he confessed in a recorded statement. Bank alerts Claire had ignored as spam now screamed foul play. Unauthorized transfers totaling $50,000 funneled into Heather's wedding fund. Meanwhile, the Emerson family buzzed with excitement. Heather's Instagram exploded with posts. #DreamWedding, photos of floral arrangements costing thousands, a custom cake from a celebrity baker. "Can't wait to say I do at the vineyard. Thanks to my amazing parents for making it all possible." One post even tagged Claire. "Sis, you better be there with bells on." Claire forced a smile in response texts, playing the oblivious sibling. Inside, she seethed. How could they? Jack's cabin wasn't just property, it was memories, summer bonfires, his stories of building it during tough times, the hidden compartment in the floor where he'd stashed letters for Claire. One read, "Claire, life's betrayals will come, but stand tall. This house is your anchor." Jessica filed a pliant complaint in court, requesting an asset freeze and the Petersons' new ownership. The buyers, an innocent retired couple, were horrified when contacted. "We had no idea," Mrs. Peterson said over the phone. "We'll cooperate fully." Their testimony added weight. Robert had rushed the closing, claiming family urgency. As the wedding approached 3 months away, Claire attended a bridal shower, gift in hand. A generic toaster, nothing sentimental. Heather gushed about the honeymoon in Hawaii, funded partly by the sale proceeds. Elaine pulled Claire aside. "We're so grateful for your understanding. The house was just sitting there, gathering dust." Claire bit her tongue. "Of course, Mom, family first." Back home, the plan solidified. Jessica drafted cease and desist letters to vendors, the florist, caterer, photographer. Any payments from fraudulent funds may be clawed back, they warned. Claire also hired a private investigator to trace the money trail, confirming Heather's direct emails approving expenses. One night, scrolling through old photos, Claire found a video of Jack at the cabin. "Promise me, kiddo," he said on camera, "don't let anyone take what's yours." That sealed it. No mercy. The turning point came 2 weeks before the wedding. Claire met with the district attorney, presenting her dossier. "This isn't just civil, it's criminal fraud," Jessica argued. The DA agreed to investigate, but Claire requested a delay. "Let the wedding happen first. I want them to feel the high before the fall." Heather's bachelorette party was lavish, a spa weekend in Napa Valley. Claire declined, citing work. In reality, she was at Harbor's Rest, or what was left of it. The Petersons let her visit one last time before the legal handover. Standing on the dock, wind whipping her hair, Claire whispered, "I'll get it back, Grandpa." The wedding dawned bright and beautiful at a sprawling vineyard in Willamette Valley. Guests milled about in designer attire, champagne flowing like water. Heather, radiant in a $10,000 gown, floated down the aisle on Robert's arm. Tyler waited at the altar, grinning like he'd won the lottery. Claire sat in the back row, dressed modestly, a serene smile masking her turmoil. During the ceremony, Elaine dabbed tears, whispering to a friend, "Our girls deserve the best." The reception was a spectacle, live band, fireworks, a 5-course meal. In her toast, Heather raised a glass, to Mom and Dad who sacrificed everything for this day, and to Claire, "Thanks for being the best big sis." Applause erupted. Claire clinked glasses, her mind elsewhere. That night, as the party raged, she slipped away early. Back in Seattle, she finalized the paperwork with Jessica. "Tomorrow," she said. The next morning, hungover and blissful, the Emersons returned home. A courier arrived at their door, a thick envelope addressed to Robert, Elaine, Heather, and Tyler. Inside, court documents detailing the fraud, demands for restitution, and notices of the asset freeze. Panic set in. Robert called Claire immediately. "What in the hell is this? Some joke?" "No joke, Dad," Claire replied calmly. "You stole from me. Now you'll pay." Heather's hysterical call followed. "Claire, how could you? The wedding was perfect. Why ruin it now?" "You knew. Emails don't lie." The fallout was swift. Vendors, alerted by the letters, demanded refunds or halted services, like the photographer withholding final photos. The Petersons, cooperative, agreed to void the sale pending court approval. Social media buzzed. Heather's posts flooded with questions from friends. "What's going on with the family drama?" A family meeting was called at the Emerson's house. Claire arrived with Jessica, armed with evidence. Robert blustered. "We did it for Heather. You never used the place anyway." Elaine sobbed. "We thought you'd understand." Heather, makeup streaked, accused Claire of jealousy. "You're just bitter because no one's throwing you a wedding." Claire laid out the proof, forged signatures, bank records, affidavits. "This ends now. Repay the $320,000 plus damages or face charges." The case moved to mediation, then court. Claire's evidence was ironclad. The judge, a no-nonsense woman named Harlan, reviewed the documents. "This is textbook fraud," she declared. Robert and Elaine admitted partial guilt, claiming desperation. Heather broke down, revealing she'd pushed for the sale to keep up with Tyler's family. Testimonies poured in. The notary recanted. Bank officials confirmed unauthorized access. Even Tyler, sensing the sinking ship, distanced himself. "I had no idea about the funds." Claire took the stand last. "This wasn't just about money," she said, voice steady. "It was my grandfather's legacy. They erased it for a party." The ruling: sale voided. Harbor's Rest returned to Claire. Restitution ordered. $370,000 total, including interest and legal fees. No criminal charges if paid within 6 months, but public apologies required. The Emersons' world shattered. Robert's accounting firm fired him over the scandal. Elaine's social circle evaporated. Invites dried up. Heather's marriage annulled. Tyler cited irreconcilable differences, code for fraud taint. She moved into a tiny apartment, working retail to pay her share. Claire, meanwhile, restored the cabin. She hired local craftsmen to repair damages, adding eco upgrades like solar panels. In the hidden compartment, she found another letter from Jack. "If they betray you, forgive, but protect what's yours." Months later, Claire hosted a small gathering at Harbor's Rest. Friends, Dorothy, Jessica, no family. As the sun set over the lake, she felt peace. 2 years passed. Claire thrived, her architecture firm landing big contracts. Harbor's Rest became her full-time home, a hub for creative retreats. Then a knock. Elaine, frail and alone. "Claire, we're sorry, truly." Claire invited her in. Over tea, stories flowed, regrets, explanations. Robert had passed from stress-related illness. Heather, now a single mom to a baby girl, struggled. "I named her Jackie," Heather said via video call later, "after Grandpa. Can you be her godmother?" Claire hesitated, then agreed, with boundaries. No more betrayals. The story ends not in vengeance, but growth. Claire rebuilt stronger, teaching others through her designs, resilience amid chaos.